Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the final video in the restoration of this Philips B4X23A. This one should be quite fun because I do get to the end of this and we'll see what the result is. A little bit surprising. Well, the Philips is back on the operating table and this is the Philips B4X23A, the one that had the transformers messed up. And the reason is this has arrived. Finally, Portuguese Post has done its job. And I received replacement transformers from Paul. Paul, thank you very, very much. He sent me two each. These two here are the final one, the one with the discriminator. And these two here are the second IF, the second to last one. So I've got both of those that I need to replace because they're stuck. And he sent me these. Now, he did try to help out. He's got some pretty good oil there that he dropped down there before he sent them. He said he'd let me risk breaking them, but he would try and give them some time to smoothen or to loosen along the way. Thanks, Paul. And what I've done is I've actually been in there and they're all moving now. I had to put a bit more oil on one of them. But other than that, they're all adjustable. So now what I need to do is replace the ones on the radio. Now it would seem very simple because the ones I've got to replace are that one there and that one there. Now that one there is the one I've taken out already. So I know which contacts need desoldering. It's not a problem. It's actually quite easy. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do both at the same time. I'm going to do one at a time. And the reason is, I'm not sure what these guys are tuned to. In other words, I'm not sure just how close these replacements are going to be in terms of setting to that one. And if I do replace both, I could end up not getting any signal through at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that one there, which is the second to last one. I'll make the alignments necessary or adjustments necessary to peak the signal. And then I will move on to that guy over there, which is the final one here, which is, what is it, transformer J. And I'm sure I'll be able to get a signal through regardless of what that setting is. And I'll be able to peak the signal with the primary and then adjust the discriminator as well. Okay, the first IF transformer is in. It's that guy over there. And I've checked that I've got the right coils in the right orientation. I've checked that there's continuity. So things should be good. So I'm ready to try an IF alignment for the FM. And the way to do that is pretty simple. You feed a 10.7 megahertz signal into the grid of the ECH81. So that's pin 2 over there. The ground of the signal generator is here to ground to the chassis. And what you do is you measure the voltage, the DC voltage. It's a negative voltage across that capacitor. See that electrolytic over there? That's C40. I've got the meter across the two pins and I've got my analog voltmeter here so we can check the deviation quite easy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around so we can see the adjustments and the effect that the adjustments will have on this. We're ready to go. I've switched it on. Just let it warm up a bit. I've got an audio tone modulated so that I can make sure I can hear it. And indeed I can. Now, the volume doesn't affect this. The strength of the signal is indicated by the amount of DC voltage. This is measuring effectively negative DC voltage. It's connected the right way across. And I want the peak on here. And what I'm going to do, this thing is giving me, I've got it on 2.5 volts. So this is just under 2 volts. It's fine. You don't want it too strong because you don't want it to affect the AGC. And I'm going to adjust those two coils for a peak. Okay, that's working. But I'm going to reduce the strength of the signal coming out of the signal generator because I do not want this to get too strong. In fact, I can get rid of the tone. I don't need modulation on that. I need to hear it. Still going up, so I'm going to reduce the strength of the signal generator again. I've got it going through that switched attenuator, so I'm going to give it another 6 dB. There's my peak. So it's peaking beautifully. This one's working just fine. Now the next one, which is I believe 13, coil 13, we do the same. Why do we always go first the wrong way? Oh, that's nearly there. See that? That is a peak. Okay, so that one's worked very well. It wasn't very far off. Obviously, this thing came out of an FM radio, came out of a Philips, exactly like this one. So I think he mentioned that the one he had only went up to 100 megahertz, but that doesn't matter because we are dealing with the IF, so it has got nothing to do with the RF side. Some of these go to 100, some to 102, some to 108, some to 104. So this one happens to go to 108, but we are dealing with the IF, which is still 10.7, so it makes no difference what the tuning range is. It all comes down to 10.7 megahertz. So we've done that, and I think I'm confident now that I can replace the second one, the more important one, and still be able to tune it. Okay, let me get that done. Okay, that second one is in, and that is J, which is S20 and S2223. That's the all-important last one. Let's power it up. I've got the signal generator sending the signal in here. We should be able to hear it. I'll put this on speaker. Yes, yes, we can hear it. Okay, let's do the alignment of that first one here. And this one here is just for a peak, same as the two we did before. There we go. That's peaked. Let's just check these guys. Got a bit more out of that one. Those are peaked. And go back to this guy. Ah, that's brilliant. That is perfect. Ha! Okay, now we just have to align the final one, the discriminator, for 0. And to do that, I need to use those double resistor trickies. There's actually a drawing on this schematic. They actually do give us information on that. They tell us where to place this. Here they tell us to adjust this one here, S22 and S23 for 0 volts. Now, the way to do that, they describe it down here. This is in French, but take two resistors of 220 kilo ohms each and connect it to the voltmeter. Well, they actually say something about the schematic. Let's have a look at the schematic and see if it shows us anything. See, the schematic has this thing over here. It tells us to take two resistors, 220k each, join that to C40R18 and C39R21. So you join these two resistors and you connect your meter over here to the joining of the resistors, and the other side of the meter goes to C39R16. Now, where are these guys? This is a bit dull, but C39R21. So it's over here. And that is ground. But that's also across that capacitor. So you connect it to one side of the capacitor, okay? The other one is C40R18. And C40R18 is this capacitor and that resistor. So you connect those two resistors across the capacitor, just like we've done in previous alignments before. So those go across that electrolytic capacitor. Other side of the meter goes to that joint over there. Now I've got to find that. Shouldn't be too difficult, I hope. but it's a 1K with a 40, it's a 1 nanofarad, 1000 picofarads with R16. Actually, we can look at that drawing. Let's look at the drawing. If we look at the drawing here, which is very unclear, but it does show a C39, and there's R16. So it's that tag strip point over there. So we should be able to find this resistor, or this capacitor C39. We should be able to see R16, and we should be able to connect it to that there. So that shouldn't be too difficult. Let me set that up. Now I've got one of these made from previous alignments. These are 2 resistors. These are 100K. They're very exact. They're precise. That's the idea. They've got to be exactly the same as each other. It should be 220 according to them, but it's always been 100 on the other restoration. So I think I'll try it with this, see if it works. I've got the crop clips at the end of the resistors. The 2 join in the middle. Now I'm going to connect that across that capacitor. The same discriminator cap that we measured before. I'm going to put one leg of the multimeter, the voltmeter, on there, on the joint, and the other leg is at that point there that they tell us to connect it to. And we should set that adjustment so that there's 0 current or voltage at that point. Now it's very, very low. Sometimes they tell you to use the meter at 10 microamps. So very, very low. We bring it down to 0, and that's where we should set it. Okay, everything's ready. I've got this set. Now this thing is on this meter. You're supposed to use a center 0 meter. I don't have one, or I don't have one this sensitive. So what I do is I use this one. It has reverse polarity. So what I need to do is adjust that guy. It's supposed to go, there's supposed to be 2 peaks. So what I'm going to do is put that put it on 100 microamps. There's one peak. It doesn't go negative, so I'm going to start turning it in. It's supposed to peak up, positive voltage, and it's supposed to go down, and it's supposed to go negative. Let me switch polarity, because now negative becomes positive. Now it's going negative, and then it goes down again. So our point that we want is over there, there. But I'm going to get it more precise by changing the range to 10 microamps. I love it. Brilliant. That is done. That is done. Paul, thank you very, very, very much. Let's hear what this sounds like on FM now. So here we go. Brilliant. Fantastic. Oh, that's great.
Entre outros. Primeiro ciclo internacional de música Terras do Infante. De Santa Cruz, claro, para além das nossas.
Renascença, emissora católica portuguesa.
Man, that's great. That is great. Our FM is back. It's fantastic. Okay, next. I've actually got some Magic Eye tubes that I bought. I bought some. Strangely enough, just so you know, I got these EM84s from banzaimusic.com in Germany. I had no idea they still sold them, so I got them from there. What I need to do now is I need to just do a quick RF alignment. I'm not sure. I noticed something there. This particular station I was listening to on FM was at 101.6. It's pretty spot on. The other one was 98. It's pretty spot on. So it looks like the RF doesn't need much aligning on the FM. And with the condition of these cores in here, it seems that all the cores in here are incredibly stuck. Now, how does that happen? Well, it could be the environment it was in. It could be, for example, someone who smoked a lot and nicotine got in there and it sort of, I don't know, glued the whole thing together. whatever it was, the general condition of all the ferrite cores in here is that they are very, very stiff. Even the ones that I can move. And proof of the pudding is that, you know, those two broke. So somebody had tried to move it as well and found the same problem. The difference is they forced it. Now, I don't want to force anything here. So if things are pretty much aligned, I'm leaving them. I'm going to do a quick check on the AM bands, see if the alignment's fairly close. If it is, I'm going to leave it exactly as it is. Now, just a note, as I mentioned before, Dave Tipton did one of these some time ago. He had some serious trouble with the FM block. He actually had to remove it and rebuild a coil and everything else. And if you want to see how to align this particular one, if you want to see another version of the alignment and more detailed RF alignment, I believe he does a complete alignment on his channel on that particular video. If I remember, when I post this video, I'll put a link above here so you can go and see his work. Okay, so my next step is take this and put it back into the cabinet. Get those two magic speakers operating because they really do look pretty beefy. And put the magic eye in and see what the sound's like and give you guys a demo. And then we'll wrap this up. And everything has been put back together. Here she is, looking pretty spiffy. All the chromes, or rather the gilding, the gold trim is nice and shiny. The woodwork came out very well. Ultimately, you just use some furniture polish or wax on this later on. Plastics are looking good. The back, nothing wrong with that. That was perfect to start off with. Just some cleaning. Now, I've got the antenna in on the FM. Let's see what happens when we try it out. First thing you'll notice is the magic eyes back. I put one in. That's the EM80, not the 84. That's the one that opens outwards. I mentioned incorrectly that it was the 84. Let's go back to the torque station. Now, this is the bass, less bass, more bass. This is treble, less treble, and it's receiving well. If I'm honest with you, I don't really like the sound. This is a shame. I find this, I don't know what it is. There's something about the sound that isn't as pleasing as some of the other ones I've done. It might have to do with this, the side speakers. I don't know. It's just something that is not as pleasant as it could be. Okay, well, let's try the other bands. This is morning, so it's not really the best time to try AM, but we'll give it a go. Long wave. Don't think we'll get anything at this time of the morning. No. Oh, it would help if I changed where the antenna is going. Try long wave again. That mini whip was not connected to the right sockets. There's a lot of noise in this workshop. Medium wave.
Todo esto de exnovios y exnovias. Y creo que aquí hay un malentendido, porque podría darse a entender que estas personas son... Aquí en Madrid. Pero nosotros, nuestra edad, no veíamos la que bueno, que recaba, que no tenía.
La belleza de sus paisajes, su riqueza étnica y contribuyen a forjar exposición africanos.
Tenemos ese pensamiento en la cabeza.
Okay, not bad. Shortwave. Maybe a bit to the higher frequencies. That's on 30 meters.
7,000 times a day in some extreme cases. So you just watch out. In many cases, if you go to an app store and they say, download this.
Okay, so it's working. It's receiving fairly well. I'm loath to say that it's probably not receiving as well as some of the others I've done. It's better than some, not as good as many. And I don't really understand why. I thought this would be quite an achiever. It's not bad. I guess I'm just used to a bit more. So this is what I've decided to do. I'm not putting in the Bluetooth. I've got it here ready to go, but I'm not putting it in just yet. And the reason is I have another Philips like this coming along. It's the B4X23A, or is it 14A? It's one of the top end ones. And somebody mentioned in the comments that I should change the tone circuit on this radio to be the same as the higher model. And usually that's just achieved with changing a few components, capacitors, resistors, and so on. And maybe that'll make an improvement. But I really am going to wait to see what the other one sounds like. It's on its way. The way shipping has been going, it could take a while, but it's on its way. So I'm going to consider this one done for now. Cosmetically, it looks beautiful. I really do like it. It is compact and it is different. But I'm not sure that it's a good different. So I'm going to sort of withhold my final decision till I see what the other one sounds like, and perhaps make some changes to this one to improve the tone settings. You see, this thing has only got preset tones, preset bass, preset treble. It probably doesn't make that much difference. Maybe the shortcomings are in the circuitry itself. But it just isn't the sound that I get a thrill from, which is a shame because I like this radio. I really do. And this one is giving me so much hassle with the transformers, and I had so much help from you guys finding the transformers, and Paul sent me those transformers, that I feel a bit guilty almost of saying this about this radio. But I mean, ultimately, you've got to be objective about it. And if it doesn't sound perfect, or if it doesn't sound the way these guys are supposed to, then you're supposed to say that. And that's what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm going to call this project finished for now. And I want to thank you all for your company. I want to thank all those who try to help me find the IF transformers. There were a lot of offers. This really shows what sort of community we have here. This is not a competition, it's a community. It really is great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Paul, for sending those. This one, because of the shipping delays, took a bit longer than usual. But I'm raring to go on the next one, which will be a little bit of a surprise. It's a tube radio, but it's slightly different. I'll leave you with that. Yeah, okay, if you enjoyed that, click like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so on Patreon. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now and stay safe.